When most people think of urban green spaces, they imagine large swaths of green land covered with trees and grass. Large parks are common, and some cities boast forests and arboretums in their limits. Other cities have implemented smaller scale green spaces through gardens and tree boxes. Zurich, too, is littered with parks and has trees throughout the city. But it is much more green than just these cities suggest. Zurich augments traditional green space with a different approach, wild growth. Where in the United States we control what plants can grow and where, that is not done in Zurich. Anywhere you walk, there are grasses sprouting out of tree boxes, clovers poking through cracks in the street, hillsides filled with life, and more. But why has Zurich adopted this policy? Zurich has not always looked this way.
In the 60s, also in the 70s, it was much more controlled. Everything has to be nice, tidy, clean. They had much more of these closed tarmac surfaces, and now they try to change it. Good development into the right direction. It became a topic in the planning, in the city planning. Yeah. The land is slow in progress, but once they do it nice.
So why is Zurich so successful in implementing wild growth while American cities lag so far behind? The key is in public perception and planning. Americans overwhelmingly see wild growth as a sign of blight and urban decline. And, for the most part, they're right. Wild growth in American cities exists because degrading infrastructure, such as roads, have not been maintained. Weeds are able to grow in cracked, impervious surfaces. They are a product of neglect. The Swiss public looks much more favorably on wild growth because it is planned rather than an indicator of decay.
No, it's controlled. They know what they do, but in a certain range, you can leave these surfaces uncontrolled.
In the end, Americans and Swiss are not different. They both look favorably upon parts of their city that are meant to be there. The difference lies in what each population wants to see in their city. Americans notoriously seek to control the environment that they live in, which reflects in their cities. On the other hand, the people of Zurich try to live more in harmony with nature. This begs the question, why have the city and people of Zurich prioritized and planned for wild growth? The movement is an offshoot of the overarching goal to reduce impervious surfaces, which comes with a myriad of ecological benefits. This reduction in impervious surfaces allows for more green space in general. More specifically, wild growth is emphasized to combat the rapid decline in insect populations in cities. Urbanization has had a detrimental effect on insect populations. This stems from a drastic decline in habitats. One study found that flying insect biomass had decreased 76% since 1990. It is important to note that not all species are affected the same way. Generalist species, such as bees, can adapt to many different habitats and thus thrive in rapidly changing human environments. They fare much better in urban green environments than specialist species, such as butterflies. Specialists require a consistent environment to thrive, and thus human interference is detrimental. By allowing plants to grow wildly, urban areas are more able to mimic the natural environment, giving these specialist species a habitat to live in. Already, the policy shift is bearing fruit, with insect populations starting to bounce back.
If you walk around on a surface like this, there are more animals, and you find some more.
For those who do not recognize this firsthand, the Zurich city government advertises their efforts. The sign here translates to a wild feast for the eyes. A wild perennial plant grows here. It provides food and good living conditions for insects and adds a colorful accent to the city. Overall, The state of wild growth in Zurich is a model for environmental action in urban areas. Instead of looking for large scale solutions, small shifts in policy, coupled with efforts to change public perception, can go a long way to create more sustainable cities.